We once sent Noah to his people, and he tarried among them 1,000 years, less 50. But the deluge overwhelmed them while they persisted in sin. But we saved him and the companions of the ark, and we made the ark a sign for all peoples. These and other verses of the Quran inform us about a great flood that took place on the earth. This was such a great flood that it covered a major proportion of the earth's surface and destroyed a civilization. So then, what do scientists say about the news that the Quran informs? Do they also accept the existence of such a flood? What are the views of science and scientists concerning this issue? Now let us see how this flood, which has been informed by the Quran, is proved by scientists. The traces of a civilization that was annihilated at once and that occurred as a result of a natural calamity, dramatic migration, or a war are preserved much better. For in such calamities, the houses in which humans live and the tools that they use are buried into the soil in a short time and thus preserved without being touched for a long time. And upon being brought to light, important information is acquired about their past lives. Many proofs about the flood of Noah are brought to light through this way. The flood, which is thought to have happened around 3000 BC, destroyed all civilization at once and enabled a new civilization to be established. So, clear proofs of the flood have been preserved for thousands of years for us to take lessons from. There are many archaeological excavations for the research of the flood that affected the savanna of Mesopotamia. The traces of flood calamity that could have caused the Great Flood have been discovered primarily in 4 cities at the excavations of the region. These cities are important cities of the savanna of Mesopotamia: Ur, Uruk, Kish, and Shurupak. The excavations that were made in these cities showed that they were affected by a flood around 3000 BC. Leonard Woolley is a very important researcher who researched this flood. He presided of an excavation project that was carried out collectively by the British Museum and Pennsylvania University. The excavations of Sir Woolley were carried out in the middle of the desert between Baghdad and the Persian Gulf. The excavations of Woolley are explained as follows in the Reader's Digest. An important finding was revealed as they got deeper inside the earth. This was the king tomb of the city of Ur. Researchers founded many legendary works of art in the tomb of Sumerian kings and nobles. Helmets, swords, musical instruments, artistic handiworks that were made of gold and precious stones. Workers got inside the muddy bricks about 1 meter and started to take out the pots and pans. And everything came to an end. There were no more pots or pans and ashes. Only pure mud that was brought by water. Woolley continued to dig. Workers suddenly found pieces of tools that had been made with emery rock, along with pots and pans by the people of the age after digging into the clean layer of clay for about 2.5 meters. When the mud was cleaned well, a civilization came into sight. This showed that a great flood had occurred in the region. Besides, the microscopic analysis showed that a thick layer of clean clay was dumped into the region by a great flood that was enough to destroy the old Sumerian civilization. Let us listen with care to the research results of Woolley, who presided the excavation. Such mass of clay that had been formed in a single time period can only be the result of a great flood calamity. This can only be the remaining of the legendary Noah's flood. German archaeologist Werner Keller expressed the result of aforementioned excavation as follows. The emergence of a city under a clay layer during the archaeological excavations in Mesopotamia proved that there was a flood in the region. Now, let us see how the legendary flood, which is mentioned by scientists, had been informed by the Quran 1,400 years ago. It was revealed to Noah, "None of thy people will believe except those who have believed already." So grieve no longer over their evil deeds, but construct an ark under our eyes and our inspiration. And address me no further on behalf of those who are in sin, for they are about to be overwhelmed in the flood. So the ark floated with them on the waves, towering like mountains, and Noah called out to his son, who had separated himself from the rest. "O my son, embark with us, and be not with the unbelievers." The son replied, "I will take myself to a mountain. It will save me from the water." Noah replied, "This day nothing can save. From the command of Allah, any but those on whom He hath mercy." And the waves came between them, and the son was among those overwhelmed in the flood. It went forth, "O earth, swallow up thy water, and O sky, withhold thy rain." And the water abated, and the matter was ended. Then, what does the coherence of the news of the Quran and the investigations of scientists mean? How do people who deny the Quran to be a word of Allah explain the news of the Quran about this flood 1,400 years ago? Is it possible for a person to inform about the flood like an eyewitness that took place thousands of years ago by himself? Will those who consider the words of scientists as proof close their eyes and ears while there is plenty of explanation about the flood of Noah? Yes, science and scientists reapproved the Quran and reaffirmed the trueness of the news of the Quran. Now we want to complete this proof by asking the following question. Imagine an illiterate person who did not know how to read and write, informing us about a flood that took place thousands of years as an eyewitness by depending on a book that had been sent to him. And then this news being proved by all historians and archaeologists after ages as a result of scientific researches. Then, could we doubt that this person is the prophet of Allah? and the book he has is the decree of him.